The cloud. All right, welcome back to the Real Estate Locker Room Show, folks. I'm your host, John Carney, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, to tune in to the podcast. I'm truly grateful for all your return listeners out there. Your support is what makes this podcast successful and keeps me going. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you spending some of it with us today. If this is your first time tuning into the show, great big welcome. And we're going to provide you with content every episode that you can apply to your business in your real estate investing career. The goal here is to deliver you that actionable advice. And whether you're an investor or an industry pro, welcome to the show that believes that real estate is a team sport. Today is episode number 93 with my guest, Peter Sisson. And it's time to kick off and charge into technology. With the CEO of Yaza. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Thanks, John. I'm really excited to be here. With a name like Yaza, you probably aren't sure what the hell it is, but we are, I would say, accidentally discovered that we're a big real estate company, and we didn't know it at the beginning. So there's an interesting story there.
Well, this is all about, shining the light on the entrepreneur and their success story, right? And, I generally like the intersection of sports in real estate or sports and entrepreneurship because, whatever your craft is or your passion is, to be really good at it, you've got to focus on it, put in the time and effort and create, a series of habits and disciplines, to set yourself apart from the herd. So, technology, a big part of everyone's life now. You're a Silicon Valley, founder. So, educate us, please. You're the expert.
Well, thank you. I mean, everything I've learned by having made enough mistakes, I think that I've ruled out most of the mistakes that I left to make. This is my fifth company. And I love your analogy of sports and tech because entrepreneurship is a team sport as well. You can never, I don't know why at the beginning, my first few companies, I was a sole founder. And I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but having the first part of starting a company is finding someone to start it with you. In fact, I ran an incubator. I'll give a little background in a second, but I ran an incubator, and the most important thing for graduates was finding a co-founder. In fact, we changed the rules of the incubator so we only accepted companies if they had at least two co-founders. And so why is finding a co-founder so important? You think it's your idea, I shouldn't share it with anybody, or I don't want to let the word out, someone's going to copy it. You need that first person to convince that this is real and that there's an opportunity and that you can get to be as excited as you are in the opportunity to be willing to work nights and weekends or free, whatever it takes, and earn their equity through sweat. And, so it is very much a team sport. It's about, my role as a founder is to basically assemble the team, right? And you got to make quick decisions while you're in flight, so to speak. We hired a PR person 3 weeks ago. Knew within a week it didn't work out and it wasn't working, and we just made the quick decision. And now it turns out that our new PR person was a former director of communications at Realtor.com, so that was perfect in terms of where our market focus is. So let me back up, if I may, and just give you a little background of me and understand why I'm here on a real estate show. So first of all, I have an interesting relationship with real estate. I have several family members who are brokers, and then when I was young, I was really into architecture to the point that I would design entire houses and build models. And this was when I was in ninth grade. I was a little bit of a geek, but I was super into architecture and buildings and design. And then, in summers with my father, we were down in Hilton Head, and he had a place there. And if any of you know of Hilton Head, South Carolina, it's a resort island vacation place. And the time, in the 80s, it was just, there was new stuff being built constantly. And we would go in and walk the floors, like because my father had, a fence didn't bother my father, so we would find a way in, and we walk up in the construction zones, walk up in the buildings without the floor plan, without the walls yet, and figure out where they're going to put the rooms. Oh, it looks like there's going to be a fireplace here. It was all super fun, and so I've always been into it. And but then for me personally, I learned about computers, and this was at the beginning, and then so I was going to be an architect and changed to computer science, and I haven't looked back. So beyond that, I basically am unemployable by others, which is often a trait I certainly am now. I mean, I did have real jobs at the beginning, and then left to start my first company in 1999. I was in a banking job, and then 4 companies later, they all got bought. I mean, not some for good amount and others not so good, but they all at least got product market fit, and everybody made a little money. Some people made a lot, and now I'm working on Yaza. And so Yaza is nothing more than authenticated videos on maps. So let me parse that for you. The original concept was that videos can be easily faked, and you really don't know what you're seeing when you see a video. And so let's find a way to authenticate them. And authentication required that you record a video, not a photo, because video is much harder to fake. And then we needed a timestamp, and we needed a location stamp, and we needed it to be uneditable, unchangeable, unhackable, so that we could prove that a video happened then and there. And then realtors found us. And I thought it was going to be a travel app. And one of the first lessons of entrepreneurship is customer, customer, customer. That you shouldn't, at the beginning, the only people you should be talking to are potential customers, because otherwise you're just getting opinions, right? You're talking to VCs, you're talking to industry experts, yeah, but when you actually talk to people in the field, that's how you learn. And so we see these realtors signing up, and we're like, what? So we start asking them, what are you doing? And because it's all secure, we can't even see, everything gets encrypted, what they do, because it's a private platform. And they were doing house tours to share with buyers, because the way Yaza works, each video, I can record the bedroom, talk about it, open the closets, always narrated, very important to narrate because your personality comes through. And then they could go to another room, record a video there. And then because the way the system's organized, they all get organized into a story at the POI, point of information. It's just map talk for house. So at the house, they all get organized there. And then, so then they're all sitting on maps at houses, and realtors are like, that's perfect for my customers. They can see my house tours. They can look at other houses in the neighborhood. They get a more immersive experience of what it's like. And that's critical with COVID. So we had a Sotheby's realtor that was going gangbusters, Mariana Papalardo. She's a top agent in California, Northern California. And then COVID hit. And then next thing we knew, agencies were reaching out to us. And so we've been basically jamming to sort of customize the app for real estate use. And so now it's still very generalist. Think of it like WhatsApp, but instead it's a messenger, but instead of WhatsApp, it's just video and text, obviously. And then it's all on maps. So it's very general purpose. And now we're adding all the flows that help bring realtors on board. And then we're having a webinar next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to teach all these new realtors jumping on, how they can use the platform.
So let me just kind of, let me see if I'm understanding the tech part of it. So, because video, if you're not using video, you're kind of too late, in my opinion. Yep. We our business is multifamily, and we've been pushing video walkthroughs, and our leasing team have figured out how to put music to it, and they collaborate together to make them better. but that's just something we send out to people, to the people that approach us and end up on our inquiry list, the prospects. But powerful tool. I would imagine this has implications for not just the sales side, but the leasing side and single family, multifamily, commercial, industrial office. I mean, across the board. But is it because it's a secure platform where I'm showing my home for sale and have given agency to my realtor and want my contents only shared, my personal belongings only shared with people who may be coming and buying it. And so then you have kind of a real estate agent to customer or whoever's sharing the videos, that's a private stream. It's not YouTube, right?
Exactly. You nailed it. And that's an important distinction. Yaza is not a lead gen tool. These are not videos. I mean, some people are because of the authenticity that they communicate, but lead gen is your fancy videos that are professionally edited, maybe with drone footage and all the stuff people do. Also Matterport, where you can get this Google Street View type of tour through the apartment. But those are lead gen. And what's missing in all of that is the personality of the realtor and the personality of the place, the stuff that you can't pick up with a fisheye lens photo, right? Mm-hmm. And so now, the realtors are walking. It's basically, they do exactly what they would do with a house tour, but they're talking to their phone as though you're their phone. They're looking at you and then they're showing the house. And then the effect is it feels just like you're there with them. And because it has built-in chat, whenever you have a chance to then look at the videos, the realtor will know that you looked at it because they can see who's actually watched the videos. And then there's chat. So I would say, oh, that looks great. Now, that door there, is that 46 inches wide, or it seems unusually large? What is the dimensions there? You can ask those questions as if you were on the house tour, but you're all doing it with chat. And it's all done. You don't all have to be on it at once, right? Because it's a chat system. So she can do the tour. She shares it multiple times with different people. And then she interacts with those people through the app, and it's all organized for her because all her chats are there. And then the other things realtors do is, talking about a team sport, that is what I have learned about real estate in just, being deep in this 3-4 months, is it is a team sport. And the realtor is one, she, when it comes to the close, she's kind of like the general contractor, the coach or master or whatever, but she's pulling together, or he's pulling together all these people. And so like stagers and contractors, let's say you're getting a house ready, and you used to, realtors spend a lot of time just checking up on work. Have to drop by the house, see if the contractors are there, see if they're making progress, where's it at, answering questions from the buyers, what's going on with the, whatever, and the sellers. And so they have their contractors just do a Yaza video, narrate, say, here's what I did today. And because it's authenticated and time-stamped and location guaranteed, nobody can pull the wool over your eyes. You can't fake a Yaza video. You have to be there, and it records a place and a time, and there's no way to change it. And so contractors report work completion. We have a large mortgage middleware software company that's big in the industry, but can't release the name yet, that is looking at building it into as an appraisal tool, so that appraisers, when they are documenting their appraisal for the mortgage company, they've got the actual video evidence, and it's all organized on the map at the place. And all of those videos collect at the place. So the place, it's a logical way to organize information about real estate sale. You've got your inspection reports, you've got your appraisals, you've got your tour videos, and then you've got individual interactions with each of those people, all captured in chat groups. And you can do it all from your app. And then the other thing is you can share it externally with a click, you can put it on Facebook, Instagram, any of the MLS platforms. We're still working on adding them, but right now you can generate a link, for example, that you can put into your listing on realtor.com, where they say, you know, virtual tour, anywhere that can accept a link. And we can generate a link from within the app and you can share it. So you can literally be on your phone, do your house tours, record your house tours. They get uploaded, stored on our servers. They're not clogging up your phone. They're in full HD. We keep them that way. They don't get compressed and lose quality. And we keep track of them for you and you control them entirely. So much so that if you share them externally, like I said, on Facebook and Instagram, in the app, you can flick a switch and they will disappear everywhere on the web. And because they're link driven, we're not moving media. The media all sits on our servers and we never move a file. And that's how we keep security, because that means that nobody ever has the videos. They're just streaming them and you can control who sees them at any time. So we have realtors doing everything from private messaging, their best customers when they've got a house coming up that they're working on and think would be a good fit, or they can post to their followers, who basically, as a realtor, you can get your buyers to follow you, and then those you can post to a channel where anyone who follows you can see them. So you can also be discovered. And then we're adding a third pure public channel that doesn't require publishers, for realtors who want to have a way to display, themselves. Because what comes through in these videos is the realtor. This is about relationship building between the customer and the realtor. It's in the closing phase that Yaza is the most important, particularly with COVID.
Well, yeah, I think it's okay. I think you did a great job of explaining it. I at least get it. It gives the realtor, control over shutting videos down, right? People can't just copy links and download the MP4 file, and then you never know where your content's gone.
Exactly.
It's safe and secure, and you're in control. So I'm thinking about the other 92 guests we've had on this show, and over the couple of years, and some of the other implications just for you and your app. I mean, let me see if I'm getting it right for the multifamily industry. If you're a property manager, you've got a few hundred units, right? And it's not so much about the lead generation, but I'm just thinking about having your maintenance team, the guys that turn those units over, right? We've all got our checklists, and then those checklists went from pieces of paper to digital, and you're just kind of always looking for a way to drive efficiency. So I'm thinking, right, the magical unicorn is, someone moves out and poof, someone else is moving right back in. The 24-hour turn. How do you drive your efficiency to the 24-hour turn? And how could like the property manager or the director of maintenance be able to do that, right? Yeah. And that's just explaining to you or talking to the audience, right? So then you have just, paint, clean the carpet. If you're updating a unit, right, because it's at 3 years later, you've got to update your finishes and fixtures, and it definitely needs paint. You're looking at something, a little bit more than just a clean or a wipe down. You try and schedule that ahead of time, but you'd almost have a checklist where people could video, we could also use it when we go through and video a pre-move out inspection or a pre-move-in inspection to let people know. I mean, I think there's a lot of real neat private ways to use this in multifamily. And then, I mean, the guys that flip hundreds of homes a month and have all these crews working, I could see that.
Buyers, this is this tool, even though we didn't think we were building a real estate app, we thought we were building a travel app. This tool turns out to be absolutely perfect for every scenario you just described. We have a property manager in Florida who has dozens of buildings, and he's the only thing holding him back, and we're working feverishly on, is that a lot of his crews are on Android, and right now we're only on iOS. It's only available on iPhone. We started with iPhone in part because it is more popular with realtors. But other than, and once we have the Android, but either way, he has his people. Now, he's not in his car. He's not, basically, his days are just driving around all the time, checking up on stuff. It's just driving. And now he sits in his living room and he looks at the check-in videos and okay, that was done. And it's easy because, oh, what's happening over at 1223 Cedar? I just go to 1223 Cedar on the map and I can see if a video was filed there to show me the work was done. So it's like a dashboard, a map dashboard where you see all the things that are happening as the videos get posted, and you'll see a marker that lights up that says, oh, there's a new video here. Ah, someone finally did something. Let me go see what they did. You know, so it's kind of a neat way to manage remote people.
Let's see if they did it right. That's interesting. So let's just go back to the intention. And it's a neat transformation. So how would this be applicable to travel? Are people using it for travel? I'm completely shifting gears.
Yeah, well, we were very lucky that in our initial tests, we kind of had trouble getting, it's a ghost town problem when you're trying to build a social travel app, because you need people to create content in order for people to have content there when they join so they can understand what it's all about. And it's a double-sided marketplace where you need the content providers and you need the content consumers on both sides of it. And so it's tricky to start a double-sided marketplace because it's like, you have your cake and eat it too at the same time. So that was one of the, oh, damn. Sorry, I forgot where I was going. Someone just knocked on the door.
Double-sided marketplace, because I've never heard that term, but it makes sense to me.
So
you're launching an application. Other people have to have it and start using it, and then and it's got to gain traction. And like, I don't know, COVID, TikTok, I don't know. Like
those are
it's like, but I'm like, is this another something where people have to have an app on their phone? I'm like,
I know. And that's the last thing people wanted, I think, was like yet another app. We thought, the travel use case is interesting because when people travel, they post about it on Facebook or Instagram, and then all that information just scrolls away into oblivion. And when you go there, you can never find it. Right? You want to know, oh, where did my friends go? What they think was cool. And so you see these big posts on Facebook. Hey, I'm going to Berlin. What should I see? And then there's 30 comments of, oh, see this, see that. And it's totally disorganized and non-efficient. So I thought that, well, if you post on Yaza, then everything sits there on the map and you could go there 3 years later and it'll be there waiting for you. So you can sort of discover stuff. It's a way to sort of keep track of the places you want to visit. And I still think in the long run, there may be people who use it for travel, but with COVID, we were extremely fortunate that our initial testing did not reinforce travel because we then switched to real estate. And had we not, we would be dead.
Yeah, that's interesting. It really is. And I mean, it's how did you come up with this?
For lack
of I'm speechless just because I'm thinking about the applications and it's brand new and it's plentiful. And what I guess I like about it is it that you control the link, but that if you wanted to for some reason shut something down.
Like after a house is sold, the new owners and the old owners don't like those videos floating around online. And, this prevents that from happening.
But just photos, just so you know, like I'm a real estate agent and I have MLS access. Yep. I don't sell single family homes. I do some commercial deals here and there, but I mean, and you go to Zillow and like the photos of our house before we bought it are still readily available in the internet with someone else's furniture. And we always go to look back at the garden. Right. It was green before we bought it. It's not green anymore. We had to get rid of that. But it's just interesting because our neighbors, everyone's been doing a lot of yard work now at the sun's out in Ohio, and we're all going to tear. Our neighbor tore everything out, and then he goes to Zillow. He's like, takes a screenshot and says, "This is what our house used to look like." But I mean, there goes privacy. So I think that it's a step forward in helping sellers and private people remain private. And, that's pretty interesting. I live in Australia and we lived in an apartment that was going to market for sale. And like one of the rules is, do you have the real estate agent, we didn't give them permission to photograph our personal belongings. And that was because of his attitude, by the way. But, you know, they have these strict privacy concerns over there. So he sold, it was in a hot area in Melbourne, and it had great views, and that's what sold it anyways. And it wasn't like a big deal. But I mean, there's those privacy laws in different countries and in different states and in different markets where you just might not want your private belongings being available.
Absolutely. And I think it's the future of the internet. I mean, you asked what was the genesis of the idea. The genesis was just the fact that it became impossible to know what to believe anymore on the internet. And so originally the whole thing was authenticated videos. Like, how can we make sure a video is real? Because we're starting to see these fake videos. And how do you stop that? Because it's only going to get better. And in 10 years, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a real thing and a fake thing, and reality and fictional blur so much. It's just going to be the end of democracy, because without information, democracies don't work. And so, you know, that was originally, a very grand mission, but like, how do we fix the problem of fake videos? That was just, and then that was the starting point. And then the rest came from our customers, right? The rest comes from talking to people. Like, what could you use that for? What would this be valuable for? And then the mapping came because that's necessary for the authentication, to prove that it happened at a place. And then suddenly we had built this perfect app for real estate, but that wasn't what we thought we were building. And so I think that the lesson there is and this is something startups have to be really good at, is your agility to act very quickly on new information and just pivot everything if you see that that's where your opportunity is. And so you follow the customer. We followed our realtors. They led us to a place that saved the company when COVID hit, because we became more relevant in real estate and irrelevant in travel.
You know, it just, yeah, I mean, so here's what's cool about, you know, talking to guys like you, Peter, or that you've been in the business game, the entrepreneurship game for a while. And, you know, in real estate, people are always looking for that quick key to success.
Yeah.
Or that quick payday. And generally there's a roadmap there. Success leaves clues. There's a number of podcasts that you can subscribe to get those clues, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, you were positioned because you took the risk, right?
Yeah.
You didn't know what was going on, and you were able to leverage, you know, the existing, we'll say risk, this existing investment of time, energy, and treasure. And you found a different need, which I think is pretty cool, but I get nerdy on the entrepreneur front to begin
Yeah,
with.
well, it's music to my ears, because that is what I've learned, is you're never right. You have a theory, and the only way to find out is you have to get it in front of people. There's an expression in Silicon Valley: if you're not embarrassed by your first release, you waited too long to release it. Because, in other words, get something into people's hands and they will teach you what it needs to be. So we got it out there. Realtors grabbed it. They told us what it needs to be. COVID came and we got lucky. But that's because we listened to our customers. And that's hard for a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, it's their idea. It's their bold vision. I'm going to change the world. Nothing will stop me. In fact, the most successful entrepreneurs are really good listeners.
I got it. Well, there are a few parting questions I like to ask all our guests is, are you a reader? And if so, is there a book that you think every entrepreneur should have in their collection?
Yeah, I actually, it's funny, I don't read a lot of business books because they just feel like work and I can't relax. So, you know, I mostly read crazy shit, and I love stories of, you know, exploration and leadership. And my favorite book is about Ernest Shackleton's Arctic expedition in 1906. I think it was 1906. I think many people know the story, but for those who don't, there's a British explorer brought a team of, I don't know if he had 100 men or something on an old sailing ship back then. This is a square rigger that he brought down and got trapped in the ice. And his leadership, it's a long story and I don't want to spoil it, but it is his leadership and his dedication to his men that ended up so that 2 years later, every single person was saved. And their boat was crushed by the ice, and the ice is melting. So they're standing on melting ice, and their boat has been crushed by the ice, and they have to find hard land quickly because the ice is melting, and that hard land is still 1,000 miles from anybody. And then they've got to send someone out to get help. And I won't tell you how they do it, but Shackleton, just the loyalty to his men and making sure that they got home safe no matter what it took, was inspirational. And it's a lesson in leadership because it shows you how important it is that you communicate to your team that you really do care and that you really want, this is for all of us to succeed. It's not about me.
Yeah, I subscribe to that. There's a few, so for the Shackleton story, I haven't read it, but I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm not going to spoil anything other than, didn't he place an ad? I mean, he recruited these guys by saying you're going to go on an adventure and you might not make it back or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's very the other thing, he's very gruff, he's very transparent, but you know where he stands and he says what he thinks. And in the end, that's what saved them because he was transparent but decisive. And there's a real magic in leadership that's very hard to capture, and he captured it. And I think that story there's so many lessons you can take from it and how to lead men and get them to follow.
And a bit of a point of reference, if you think you're having a real bad day, could be worse.
Exactly. Everyone should read the book to at least appreciate how good they have it relative to what those 100 men went through.
I know. Well, another thing that we like to learn on the show, and I definitely ask everybody is so like one pro tip, if you're looking to start something new or you're trying to take what you have to the next level, you've been successful. And we want to, absorb some of that knowledge. So,
yeah. So the first thing is don't think you can't talk about it because someone's going to steal it. The number one, I mean, in the movie industry, that can happen. You overhear a plot line. It's very easy to copy a plot line. To build a company is not writing a script. To build a company is execution and commitment and time and hours, and nobody has the time to build your idea, and they don't care about it because it's not their idea. And even if it's a really good idea, even a VC, they don't have time to steal it, and they're not going to steal it. So get the word out. And why? Because then what you need comes to you. It sounds a little California New Agey, but you kind of have to put out there what you're doing. And then, oh, that's interesting. I know a guy who could get you into ABC. He's like best friends with the CEO. And that starts to happen. Or what, I love that idea. But if you added like a chat to it, think how that would crush. And then you're like, fuck, that's a great idea. So you actually don't feel like you should keep your idea a secret. No one's going to copy it. What is more valuable is to talk to as many people as you can about it and listen to the smart ones. And then don't look back, because the other thing that, those conversations will be very discouraging potentially, but that's also how you learn what the potential objections could be or where the misunderstandings would be, which then helps you narrow down your positioning and what the company stands for. You have to keep talking about your company in order to figure out what it is, because when you start it, you don't know what it is. And then by talking about it, magic things happen in terms of people saying, oh, I know somebody, or someone introducing you to a potential investor. So first and foremost, talk about it and be iterating the idea before you start hiring programmers to build it. Iterate the idea before you put pen to paper, so to speak, or put lines of code, into a computer. You got it, because the most expensive thing is to build the wrong app, put it to market. Nobody uses it. Now you've got engineers to pay and people to pay, and you've got a market launch, and you've got everyone thinking you're one thing, and that failed. And now you've got to try to pivot the company, but now you already lost your chance for publicity because you already came out with this is what it is. You want to do as much research as you can and talk to as many people as you can before you even figure out what the product is. You have your ideas, but that, as much as you can learn without spending money, is the best way to start.
Oh, that's awesome. Great advice. Well, look, Peter, thank you for joining me today and sharing the Yaza story and a lot of other great gold nuggets of wisdom here on just the journey, that people take, whether it's in real estate or technology or whatever your passion might be. Where can the audience find you on the internet? And
Sure.
You and Yaza.
Yeah, you can reach, I'm very communicative. I like to talk to people, especially realtors these days. Reach out to me. You can connect. I connect to any realtor who reaches out to me on LinkedIn, Peter Sisson. My email, which you can use to get the LinkedIn invite, is peter@yaza, yaza.io. You can also visit yaza.io, the website, which tells you all about the app and has lots of videos of the app in action. And then you can go to the App Store and download the app for Apple phones today.
Perfect. Well, there you have it, folks. I truly hope you picked up some actionable advice today from my conversation with CEO and founder of Yaza, Peter Sisson. Make sure to check out the Real Estate Locker Room Show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're in all those places. And hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on the success stories from our awesome guests like Peter. And if you like what the show's about, the online currency of reviews, and hopefully you like what the Real Estate Locker Room show is about, and will leave us a favorable one. But the post-game report, and those are the show notes, will be available on johncarneyonline.com/podcast. This is episode number 93. And while you're there, you can opt in or not, but we'd love to be able to share some of the content that we have for our listeners by email as well. Remember to stay focused on your goals, have fun, stay in the game, and until next week, work hard, play hard, and raise the bar. I'm your host, John Carney, and this was my guest, Peter Sisson, and we hope you had a great time tuning in and learning something new.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Peter.
So I'm going to start listening every day to your podcast. First of all, you've got a very dynamic personality and a good hosting vibe. So I really enjoyed this. And I think I'll learn a lot by listening. I'm going to go back and listen to